Hi, this tutorial is going to be supplemental to the other tutorial that we provided where I went through the process of installing VMware Fusion and Ubuntu on a Mac OS. This is for Windows 10 users. We thought it'd be nice to have a how-to video for that user base so that you could see very clearly how to get through this process. I'm going to be going through steps 1 and 2, but I'd ask you to refer to the main video for the third step where I went through um, the process of installing Daedalus inside Ubuntu in a very thorough fashion. So with that said, let me stop sharing my presentation here and start sharing my Windows 10 desktop. Okay, so hopefully you guys are seeing my Windows 10 desktop now. The first thing you want to do is go to ubuntu.com and download the latest long-term version of Ubuntu. Now, if you click on download and then click on the 2004 LTS version, that's the version you want. The download should start here shortly. There it is. I'm not going to download it again because I've already done so. Just keep in mind this download is 2.6 gigs, so it's a fairly large file. I'm going to hit cancel here. Now, we do want to verify our downloads, right? We want to verify that the file has not been corrupted in transit while downloading it. And we want to make sure that there's nothing malicious inside the file, and that the file that we download is the one that was posted by Ubuntu in this case. Now, we will be doing the same thing with VMware. That'll be the second file that we'll download. But let me just show you the process here real quick with the Ubuntu ISO. And what you want to do in Windows, you want to type in the search page here, you want to type PowerShell and get to your Windows PowerShell app. This will land you in your home directory. You type dir, you'll see the files and folders inside your home directory. The downloads, for me, and download into the downloads folder. So I'm going to change the directory into downloads. I'm using tab completion because it just makes it easier to type out the text and the files and folders as you refer to them. Now, if I type dir again, I'll see that I have I've got 3 different files in here. I've got 2 different versions of the VMware player, and I've got the Ubuntu ISO. What I want to do is I want to verify the hash, the SHA-256 hash of the Ubuntu ISO file. And again, this gives me confidence that the file that I've downloaded is the correct file, has not been tampered with, has not been corrupted, and is not malicious. All right, so let me do that by typing get file hash. Now notice it's a capital G, capital F, capital H. Then you just start typing out the name of the file. In this case, it's Ubuntu. Now, I'm only going to type out the first 4 characters because that's unique enough in this list of files in this directory. Then I'm going to hit the tab key. That auto completes the name for me, so I don't have to type out the entire name of the file. I'm then going to hit enter. When I hit enter, that's going to execute the command. I'm going to then compare the output of that command to this string here in between quotes in this window. As soon as that comes back, and we should see that the output it matches. So if you go basically character by character, you'll see that it's the exact same output that we've got here using this command. So that again gives us confidence that that file is the correct file. Next thing you want to do is you want to download the latest VMware player file, now executable. The way you do that is you go to vmware.com and then go to the downloads section. Actually, now go to the products. It's easier to find it this way. Then go to desktop hypervisor. Then for Windows, what you want to download is Workstation Player here. This is the one that says free for personal use. We're going to be using this version. You do have the option as a Windows user to purchase the Windows Pro version. Gives you a little bit more functionality, but you don't need it for our purpose. This one is free. This one's paid for. So make a decision. But the the process that we're going to go through is the exact same whether you're using Pro or Player in this case. So let's go ahead and download this. Click on Workstation Player, then click on Download Now, and then click on Go to Downloads, and then download the Windows version of this file. In this case, is 16.1. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to do that again. Roughly 215 megs in size. Then if you click the expand link there, the read more link, this is where you see your hashes. And again, this is the SHA-256 hash that we want to compare our output against. Now they do provide the MD5 sum and the SHA-1 sum. The SHA-256 sum is longer, it's more unique, it's safer. There is a possibility for what they call a collision when you're using MD5 or SHA-1. This basically means that two files can theoretically have the same output. It's not likely with SHA-256 because it simply uses a longer input to produce these hashes. So, right. So let's go ahead and execute the same command to get the SHA-256 sum for the VMware file. This is 16.1. Now, what I want to show you here is kind of an exercise in the tab completion, right? With the Ubuntu file, it was pretty easy because it's completely unique here. But in this case, now I've got two VMware files that are similarly named, right? We've got 16.0, which is the previous version, and 16.1, which is the latest version. So what I'm going to do is I've typed VM, all right, which is how these two files start, and then I'm going to type tab. It's going to bring me up. It's going to bring me to, actually just selected the first file. So now I'm just going to go back and we're going to correct the number there, and then click tab again, and now it points me to the correct file, or writes out the correct file. So now I'm going to hit the enter key and get that hash, and we should see that the hash matches again the string that was published by VMware. If we do a character by character comparison there, we'll see that those matches. This tells us that this executable is not malicious. It tells us that it's the proper executable that was published by VMware, and that it has not been tampered with or corrupted in the process of downloading it. Okay, so going through that process, enough said. This is the best practice no matter what you're downloading onto your desktop. So, you know, always try and go through this process because it just ensures additional layers of safety and security for anything you download onto your machine. Okay, so now let's go ahead and install the VMware 16.1 version of Workstation Player on this machine. I'm going to go to Downloads, again, 16.1.0. Double click on this, click yes. This is a pretty easy install. It's pretty much most of the defaults. We will deviate just by one selection here, add additional capability, click on next, accept the terms. Once you read the license agreement, click on next. Now, the one thing I do recommend is just clicking on this enhanced keyboard driver here. It does require a reboot when you do that, so just keep that in mind. You can then click next. You know, this is optional here, whether you want to, you know, join these things for VMware. I'm just gonna leave them at default. Click next. Give me a desktop icon. Give me a start menu folder and programs. And that's all defaulted stuff. And then click install. The install should take a couple minutes here, and then we'll be ready to get some work done. Okay, click finish. It does require a reboot, so let's go ahead and reboot that now. Okay, we're back. The reboot has completed, and now we're ready to install our virtual machine using VMware Workstation Player. Okay, click on the VMware Workstation Player icon. Should be on your desktop. Okay, there we go. So it prompts you leave the default using the free non-commercial use license, right? Unless you're using this for commercial use. And then if you are, I would, I would say you're better off using the pro version. But for most people, I imagine this is going to be the case. So go ahead and click continue, then finish. And there we go. We've completed the installation of Workstation Player. I'm going to go ahead and skip this informational stuff here and skip the update here for now. Just remind me later. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a virtual machine. So I'm going to click on the Create New Virtual Machine icon there, and we're going to use an ISO image that we've downloaded. I'm going to browse to the downloads folder and select the Ubuntu ISO. Click Open. Then we're going to click Next. I'm going to give this machine a name. Let's just call it Cardano. And then you're going to select your username and password, actually something you remember. Virtual machine, we're going to provide that a name as well. This is where the files for the virtual machine are going to reside on your host machine. So under your documents virtual machines folder, you do have the option of, instead of installing onto your hard drive, using an encrypted thumb drive instead, and then pointing these files or pointing the installation of this virtual machine to that encrypted thumb drive. And that is a workaround for having the ability to encrypt this virtual machine, because with the Windows Workstation Player version, the Windows 10 version of this software, they prevent you from encrypting the virtual machine unless you go to the pro version. With the pro version, they do allow you to encrypt your virtual machine. And of course, because we're going to be installing a wallet onto this, we definitely highly recommend that the files, which basically are the hard drive for this virtual machine, that they be encrypted. Of course, now with the release of the hardware wallet support within Deadalus, some of this risk is mitigated. But this is definitely an option to use an encrypted thumb drive as your location for your virtual machine to mitigate any threats there. So I'm going to click next. I'm just going to do it on my local hard drive. I'm going to increase the hard drive size to 40 gigs just to give me additional space, make sure I have enough space to go into. And I'm going to allow this to be a split virtual disk instead of a single store. This is just basically grow as needed. So, as the virtual machine needs more space, is going to allocate more space to that file. Maybe you click on the first radio button here, it would allocate it all at once, but that's not necessary. And for the purpose of this use case, you don't really need to do that. So go ahead and again increase your hard drive size. In this case, I doubled it to 40 gigs, and I selected the split, or allow the default of splitting the virtual disk into multiple files to be the selection here. Then click on next. So now we can see the configuration of this virtual machine. We've got 2 CPU cores. We've got 4 gigs of memory, 40 gigs of hard drive space. These are decent specifications for this machine and for this use case, so I wouldn't change that. You could customize the hardware by clicking on customize hardware here, clicking this button, but there's no need to do that. I'm going to go ahead and click finish, and as soon as we do that, then it's going to start the process here for us. This is asking me if we want to download VMware tools for Linux, which is something we'll do later on. So we're just going to say, remind me later for now. But now the installation of Ubuntu is now happening. This is with the Windows version. It does take advantage of an automated process here to install Ubuntu, so it's fairly easy. Once you provided the basic information of machine name, username, password, and you customized your settings for the machine. Everything else is pretty much automated as far as the installation of Ubuntu, so it's fairly easy. Okay, the installation is now complete. We can log into our user. And go ahead and skip these prompts here, and we don't need to connect to all accounts. We don't need to use live patch. And don't send system info to canonical. And you don't need location services, and that's pretty much it, and you're done. All right, so now, again, you can go to the daedaluswallet.io webpage and download Daedalus. Of course, you want to verify your download before you do that. Again, refer to the previous tutorial for how to do that within Ubuntu. But that's it. The installation was pretty much seamless, automated. It even installed the open VM tools for us as part of that process. So we don't have to do that manually. And basically, that gives us a better experience when it comes to the desktop and the resolution and things like that. So, all right, that's it. Hopefully, this was helpful, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.